Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing very well. So in today's video I have 3 different ideas to store your jewellery. They are all strawberries and cream theme. The first being a hanging tapestry to hang earrings and store rings in the pockets. The second being a strawberry ring dish, and the third being a strawberry pouch. So I hope you enjoy this tutorial and let's get into it. So for the first project I'm going to be making the jewellery hanger. You're going to need 4 different colours of yarn. I'm using all cotton yarn today and it's all the same weight, it's about a double knit weight. I'm using white as my main colour, so I've got more of that than the others. So I've got white as my main colour, and then I've got baby pink for the strawberry pocket that I'm going to make, and then obviously green for the strawberry leaves on the pocket, and then I'm using a dark pink for the frills around the edge. And then you're also going to need some scissors and then a sewing needle to sew the pocket on, and then any ends as well. So starting off with the main jewellery hanger, I'm just going to basically make a slip knot with my main colour, which was the white cotton yarn, and with my 3mm hook I'm going to be making a chain that is a multiple of 4 plus 1. So you can make the jewellery hanger however wide you want, just make sure that it's a multiple of 4, and if you want to do less chains than I am, then obviously keep it as a multiple of 4 but less. So I'm going to be making a chain of 40 plus 1, but you can adapt this to your preference, just make sure that it's a multiple of 4. Okay, so I've got my chain of 40, and now I'm going to add my extra chain like this. So this is what it should be looking like, and then I'm going to be making 1 double crochet into each chain all the way across, but I'm actually going to be making it in the back bumps. So I'm going to basically flip the chains over, and as you can see we have these back bumps behind each chain, and I'm going to be making 1 double crochet into that second back bump from the hook. So I'm going to yarn over, insert the hook into that second back bump, yarn over and then pull up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over again, pull through 2 loops, like that. And then I'm going to repeat that into each back bump all the way across. So again, yarn over, insert the hook into the back bump, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So I'm going to repeat that now all the way across. So I've just reached the end of the row, and now I'm about to start row 2. So I'm going to chain 1 and turn the work, and I'm going to make 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way across, and I'm going to weave in this tail as I go. So I'm going to start off with my first double crochet in that first stitch, including the tail. Just make my double crochet like that, and then I'm going to continue making 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way across. Okay, so I've just done my last double crochet in that last stitch, and now I'm basically just going to be repeating row 2 for 2 more rows until I have 4 rows of double crochet in total. So just as a recap, I'm going to chain 1, turn the work, and then I'm going to make 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way across, and then when I get to the end of that row I'm going to repeat the same thing, chain 1 and 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way across. So I will meet you back after I have finished row 4, and then we will start row 5 together. Okay, so for row 5 I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to turn the work, and I'm basically going to be making a mesh stitch. So I'm going to be making my first double crochet in the first stitch as normal, like this. So first stitch is 1 double crochet, and then I'm going to be chaining 2, and then I'm going to skip 2 stitches, and I'm going to make a double crochet into the next stitch. Okay, and then I'm going to repeat that all the way across. So I'm going to chain 2, skip 2, and make a double crochet into the next, and then again chain 2, skip 2, and double crochet into the next. And I'm going to repeat this all the way across, and you should end with a double crochet in that last stitch. So this is what it looks like when you have finished the 5th row. And for row 6, I'm just going to chain 1, and I'm going to repeat the exact same thing all the way across. So I'm making my double crochet into that first stitch right there, and then I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to skip the 2 chains, and I'm going to make a double crochet where we made that double crochet in the previous row, and then I'm going to chain 2, skip 2, and make a double crochet in that next stitch. Okay, so I'm basically repeating the exact same thing all the way across. This time, instead of skipping stitches, we're skipping these chains. So I'm going to meet you back at the end of the row. Okay, so this is what it looks like after you have finished the 6th row. For row 7, I'm going to be chaining 1, turning the work, and I'm going to be doing 2 rows of just double crochet. So no chaining, no skipping, just double crochet. So into the first stitch here, I'm going to make my double crochet as normal. Okay, and then now we have reached these 2 chains in the middle. I'm just going to make a double crochet into each chain. So that's the first chain, and that's the second chain. And then I'm going to make a double crochet where I made that double crochet in the previous row. Like that. And then I'm going to make my 2 double crochets in the chains. That's in the first chain, and then this is in the second chain. And then I'm going to make a double crochet where that double crochet is in the previous row. So as you can see, I'm basically like filling the space now where we made those chains and we skipped a stitch. I'm now filling the space again just like we did in the first few rows, just double crochet in each stitch slash chain, and I'm going to be doing that for 2 rows. So once I reach the end of the row, I'm going to chain 1, turn the work, and I'm just going to make a double crochet into each stitch. So I will meet you back after I have finished my 2nd row of double crochet, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so I've just finished row 8. Now for the rest of the middle section of the jewellery hanger, I'm going to be repeating row 5 and 6, and then row 7 and 8. So this section here and then this section here. So for my next 2 rows I will be doing this section here, and then after that I will be doing row 7 and 8, and I will just continue to repeat 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm planning to continue this until I reach row 18, so I will come back once I finish row 18, but you can do as many rows as you like, and you don't have to do as many as me, you could do less, but just so you know, I will be ending on technically the row 6, which was the 2nd mesh row for the last row. So yeah. Okay, so I just finished row 18, and now I'm going to do my last 4 rows. So I'm just going to chain 1, turn the work, and I'm just going to do 4 rows of double crochet. So I'm making my double crochets all the way across. Okay, so now I have finished my final row. I've just done the 4 rows of double crochet. I'm now going to fasten off, so I'm just going to chain 1 and cut the yarn, and then just pull the tail through, pull tight to fasten it. And I'm basically now just going to do a border around the edge of single crochet. So because my last row was on the wrong side of the work, I'm going to flip my work over, so I'm now back on the right side, and I'm just doing single crochets all the way around the edge. So I'm going to make a slip knot, and I'm going to attach the yarn in the corner, so just this corner right stitch, pull the slip knot through, chain 1 to attach it, and I'm going to make a single crochet in the same stitch like that, and then I'm going to make single crochets all the way down this side. And even though there aren't any stitches here, I'm just going to do my best to make a single crochet sort of in each double crochet bar that there is. So I'm just doing single crochet down the edge, sort of 1 in each bar. Okay, so I'm going to continue this all the way down the edge, and once I reach the corner I'm going to make a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet in the corner, and then I'm going to single crochet across the bottom, and then in this corner single crochet, chain 1, single crochet up this edge, in this corner single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and then I'm going to single crochet across the top edge, and I will meet you back once I have reached this first corner where we attach the yarn. So I've just reached the top of the jewellery hanger again, and now I'm going to grab my frills colour, which is going to be this sort of darker pink, and I'm going to make a slip knot so that it's ready for when we attach it. Okay, so I've just done the last single crochet, and now I'm going to slip stitch where we attached the yarn in the first place, so that chain 1, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to, instead of yarning over and making the slip stitch, I'm going to add my new colour here, and I'm going to slip stitch through both stitches. So I'm just pulling the yarn through both stitches like this, and just pull tight on the white. Okay, so I've attached the new colour, and now I'm going to chain 1 to start the next row, and I'm going to be making 3 half double crochets in the first stitch and then a slip stitch into the next stitch, and I'm going to repeat that all the way around. So into the same stitch, 3 half double crochets, that's 1, 2 and 3, and into the next stitch a slip stitch, and then into the next stitch 3 half double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and then into the next stitch a slip stitch. So I'm going to repeat that all the way around, 3 half double crochets in the first stitch and then a slip stitch into the second stitch, and then I will meet you back at that first stitch that we made. Okay, so I've just finished my last 3 half double crochets, and now I'm going to make my slip stitch into that spot where we attached the pink yarn, so right there. Make a slip stitch like that to join it, and I'm just going to chain 1 and cut the yarn. And then with my hook I'm just going to weave the short tail into the back of the work. So I'm now going to start on the strawberry pocket. I'm going to be using baby pink as my background colour, dark pink for the main part of the strawberry, green for the leaves, and then white for the little shine on the strawberry. As you can see from the graph, the numbers across the bottom of the graph are how many stitches there are in the row, and the vertical numbers are how many rows there are. So if you are looking at the first square in the bottom left corner, then that is obviously the first stitch of the first row. If you're right-handed, this will be on the bottom right square, so the very corner square on the right side at the bottom. And I will be providing both left-handed and right-handed graphs in the description. So I'm going to be starting off with a chain of 15 plus 1, and this is because the bottom numbers indicate how many stitches there are. So there's 1 to 15, so that means that there is 15 stitches going across, so that means I need to make a chain of 15. So there's my chain of 15, and then I'm going to add an extra chain for the turning chain. And for the first row, as you can see, there is no colours to change, so I'm just literally going to be doing 1 single crochet into each stitch, into each chain all the way across. So I'm going into the second chain from the hook, and I'm just making my first single crochet, and then I'm going to make a single crochet into each chain all the way across. Okay, so I've just done my 15 single crochets, so you should have 15 stitches in the row, and we've just completed row 1. So for row 2, I'm literally just going to turn the work, I'm not going to chain 1. And as you can see, if you're left-handed, then you would be doing 6 single crochets in pink and then changing to red. If you're right-handed, you'll turn the work and you'll do 2 single crochets in pink and then change to red. Just depends on where you are at in the graph, but like I said, I'm going to provide both graphs in the description. I'm left-handed, so I'm going to be going like from right to left for the second row. So I'm going to be doing 6 single crochets in pink, and on the 6th single crochet I'm going to be changing to my dark pink colour. Of course on the graph this is red, but just for reference I'm going to be using dark pink instead of red. And I'm just going to make my first 6 single crochets, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now I'm about to do my 6th single crochet. So I'm going to start my single crochet, and before I yarn over and pull through both loops to finish, I'm going to drop the work and I'm going to pick up my dark pink colour, make a slip knot, attach it to the hook, and I'm going to finish the single crochet with the dark pink. So I'm pulling the dark pink through both of those loops. And now I can start my 7 single crochets in dark pink. And obviously if you're right-handed then you would have done 2 single crochets. On the second you would have changed to pink and then done your 7 single crochets. So basically at the similar point. So I'm now going to make 7 single crochets, and then on the 7th I'm going to change back to baby pink. So I'm going to carry the baby pink across with me. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm going to do my 7th, and on the 7th I'm going to change back to pink. So I'm going to swap now, and I'm going to drop my dark pink and pick up the baby pink. Make sure I drop the dark pink onto this wrong side so that it's tucked away. I'm going to finish the single crochet with the baby pink. Okay, so can you see there's 7 single crochets in dark pink, and then I'm going to complete my last 2 single crochets in just the baby pink, so I'm not changing colour. Okay, so that's what row 2 looks like, and then for row 3 I'm going to turn the work, and as you can see if you're left-handed you'll be doing 1 pink single crochet and then changing colour. If you're right-handed you'll be doing 4 pink single crochets and then changing colour. So I'm left-handed, so I'm going to be doing my first just 1 single crochet now. So I'm going to change colours immediately, drop the baby pink and pick up the dark pink and finish the single crochet. And then I'm going to be doing 9 single crochets in dark pink, and then on the 9th I will be changing to baby pink. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Sorry, it was 10 single crochets, not 9. So 10, and then I'm going to switch to baby pink, and I'm going to complete my last 4 single crochets in baby pink, and I'm not going to change colour because I'm at the end of the row. Okay, so this is what it should be looking like now. So that is row 3 finished. Hopefully now you have kind of a grasp on how to change colours and how to add colours in. So literally wherever you see a colour you would just add that in on the previous stitch. So where you see at row 8 you can see that you would change from red to green, then you would basically complete the last red single crochet with the green yarn. You would just pull through 2 loops with the green yarn, and then you would do 2 single crochets, and on the second green single crochet you would change back to white. And that's just an example, but hopefully you get the gist. And if you are still struggling, I have a in-depth tutorial on changing colours and pixel crochet, and I will link that down below. But yeah, I'm just going to continue doing these rows until I finish row 14, and then after row 14 I will come back and show you my progress, and I'll show you how to fasten off. Okay, so I just finished the last row of the strawberry, and I cut the ends that I didn't need anymore for the other colours, and I just weaved them in. And now I'm just going to chain 1 and fasten off, and I'm going to leave a long tail for sewing. Okay, so this is what it looks like from the front, and then the pocket will just be placed in the corner. And I'm also going to be making a second pocket on the other corner, except this time I'm just going to be doing rows of single crochet. So for the other pocket I'm going to be doing it in the dark pink, and I'm going to make a slip knot, and same as the other pocket I'm going to be making a chain of 15 plus 1. And then I'm just going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook, and then single crochet into each chain all the way across. Okay, and then once I've reached the end of the row, I'm just going to turn the work and make 1 single crochet into each stitch across. So basically I'm just doing rows of single crochet, and like we did, instead of what we did in the pixel crochet pocket, which was changing colours, I'm literally just doing single crochet. So I'm just keeping the colour the same, and I'm going to basically just be doing rows and rows of single crochet until I have 13 rows. In the other pocket we did 14 rows, but I'm going to be doing something different for the 14th row of this pocket. So I'm going to do 13 rows of single crochet in total, and I'm going to come back before I have done the 13th, the last stitch of the 13th row, because I'm going to be changing colours there. So just do 13 rows of single crochet and stop at the very last row stitch of the 13th row. Okay, so I'm just on the 13th row and I'm on the last stitch, so I'm going to start my single crochet, and I'm going to finish the single crochet with my next colour, which is the baby pink, and I'm going to do the same thing we did on the border here for the 14th row. So I'm finishing with the new colour like this, and then I'm just going to turn the work, and the first stitch here we're just going to make a slip stitch in. So we're going to turn the work, it can be a bit fiddly, but we're just going to make a slip stitch into that first stitch like this, and then into the next stitch I'm going to make 3 half double crochets. I'm just going to weave these ends in as I go. So 1, 2 and 3, and then slip stitch into the next stitch, and then 3 half double crochets into the next stitch. 1, 2, 3, and then slip stitch into the next stitch like that, and then 3 half double crochets into the next stitch. That's 1, 2, 3, and then slip stitch into the next stitch. At this point I'm just going to cut the dark pink yarn because that's all weaved in now. I'm just going to trim those little pieces of the pink yarn because they're sticking out. So I'm just going to repeat this all the way across, so 3 half double crochets and then a slip stitch into the next stitch. Okay, so now just going into the last stitch, which should be a slip stitch like that. And then I'm just going to chain 1 and fasten off. And then I'm just going to weave in both of these ends. Okay, so these are the two pockets. So I've got one with frills and then the strawberry one. Now obviously this strawberry one has a long tail where I fastened off. This one doesn't. I'm going to basically be sewing each pocket onto each corner, and for this one where I did weave the ends in, I'm just going to cut a long string of the dark pink. So yeah, and then I'll just tie one knot at the end, and then I'll just sew the edge to this corner here. And then the same for this pocket, I'm just going to sew around. Make sure that you're not sewing the top part to the back panel, because obviously it's a pocket, you want to be able to slot things in there, so you're only sewing the sides and the bottom down, and same goes for this one as well. So I'm going to sew these to the bottom part of the jewellery hanger, and then I will come back. Okay, so I'm now going to be showing you how to make the strawberry ring dish. So I'm going to be using acrylic yarn for this. I've got my white yarn for the main part of the ring dish, red for the strawberry, and then green for the strawberry leaves. I'm going to be using a 3mm hook, some scissors, and a sewing needle to sew in any ends. If you would like to use a stitch marker, then that is completely up to you. Starting off with my main colour, which is the white, and I'm just going to make a slip knot. Okay, and then I'm going to be making a chain of 3, and then I'm going to slip stitch into that third chain, like that. And then I'm going to be pulling apart the ring so I can find that little gap in the middle, and I'm going to make 8 half double crochets into the ring. Okay, and then I'm going to slip stitch back into that first half double crochet that we made to finish around, and then I'm going to pull tight on the tail to close the ring. For row 2, I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to be making 2 half double crochets into each stitch. So I'm going into the same stitch that I just did the chain 1. And I'm going to weave this tail in as I go and make 2 half double crochets, and then 2 half double crochets into each stitch all the way around. So once you've reached the end of the round, you should have 16 stitches, and then I'm going to slip stitch back into that first half double crochet that I made, like that. And then for row 3, I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to make 1 half double crochet into the first stitch, and then I'm going to make 2 half double crochets into the second stitch. So 1 in the first stitch and 2 in the second stitch. And then I'm going to repeat that into the next stitch, so 1 into the next stitch and 2 into the following stitch. So I'm going to repeat that sequence now all the way around. Okay, and then I'm going to slip stitch back into the first half double crochet that I made. You should now have 24 stitches in your round. For the 4th round, I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to make 1 half double crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then into the 3rd stitch I'm going to make 2 half double crochets. So starting off with my first half double crochet, so that's 1, and then 1 in the next stitch, and then 2 in the 3rd stitch. So I'm going to repeat that around, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, all the way around. Okay, and then slip stitch back into that first half double crochet to complete the round. And then for round 5 I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to make 3 half double crochets and then 2 half double crochets into the 4th stitch. So 1 into the next 3 stitches, so 1, 2 and 3, and then into the 4th stitch 2 half double crochets. And then I'm going to repeat that all the way around, so 1, 2, 3 and then 2 in the 4th, 1, 2, 3, 2 in the 4th. Okay, and then we're going to slip stitch back into that first half double crochet. For round 6 I'm going to chain 1, I'm going to make 4 half double crochets and then 2 half double crochets into the 5th stitch. So starting off with my 4 half double crochets, so that's 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then into the 5th I'm going to make 2 half double crochets. And then I'm going to repeat that all the way around, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then into the 5th, 2 half double crochets. Okay, and then I'm going to slip stitch back into that first half double crochet. Okay, for round 6 I'm going to chain 1, and this time I'm going to just make 1 half double crochet into each front loop all the way around, so no increases, and I'm only going into the front loop. So I'm going to make my first half double crochet in that same stitch, but I'm just picking up this front loop, and same for all of the other stitches, 1 half double crochet into each front loop all the way around. And then I'm going to meet you back, and then we're going to change colours on that slip stitch that we make to close the round. So I've just reached the end of the row, I've done my last half double crochet in the front loop, and now I'm going to change colour at the slip stitch. So I'm going to grab my red, make a slip knot, and I'm going to grab the yarn again, so the white yarn. I'm going to start my slip stitch, so I'm going to insert my hook into that first half double crochet, but I'm going to drop the white yarn and I'm going to pull through both loops with the red yarn, like that, and then you can just pull on the white yarn to tighten it, like that. And then for the next round I'm going to just chain 1, and this should hopefully secure everything anyway, and I'm going to be weaving this white tail around for a few stitches before I cut it. So into this same stitch I'm going to be making a puff stitch, so I'm going to yarn over, insert the hook into the same stitch, again picking up these tails because I'm going to weave them in, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then again yarn over, insert the hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert the hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then one more time, yarn over, insert the hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You should have this nice puff stitch with lots of little loops, and you're just going to want to yarn over and pull through all of the loops except for the last one here. So I'm going through all of them except for that last one. You should have 2 loops on the hook, and I'm going to yarn over and pull through all of the loops, so the last 2 loops like this. You should have a nice little puff stitch. Okay, and then from this point we're going to be repeating the sequence, so I'm going to chain 1, I'm going to skip a stitch, and I'm going to make a puff stitch into the next stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, insert the hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert the hook into the next stitch, into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. Okay, yarn over, pull through all of the loops except for the last one. So you should have 2 loops on the hook, then yarn over, pull through the 2 loops. So I'm going to be repeating the sequence where I chain 1, I skip the next stitch, and then I make a puff stitch, and then I chain 1, skip a stitch, make a puff stitch in the next stitch, and I'm going to be repeating this all the way around. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so I've just finished my last puff stitch, and now I'm going to do a chain 1, and this is going to account for the gap in the middle between either puff stitch, so the first puff stitch and the last one, and then obviously you skip the middle. So now I'm going to slip stitch into that first like puff stitch that we made, so not the chain 1 but the actual stitch, so this one right here, and I'm going to be changing colours to green. So I'm just going to insert the hook there, grab my green colour, and I'm going to finish the slip stitch with the green yarn. So I'm going to pull through both loops with the green, like that, and just pull on both strings like this. Okay, and then I'm going to chain 1 to start the next round, and again I'm going to be weaving in the red and the green string as I go. So we're now going to be making the leaves for each strawberry. So basically I'm going to insert the hook into sort of any section of the strawberry puff, so just right here, that's fine, and then yarn over and pull up a loop like this, and then again I'm going to insert the hook into sort of the middle of the strawberry and yarn over and pull up a loop, and then I'm going to repeat that one more time, inserting the hook into sort of this side of the strawberry, and then yarn over and pull up a loop like this, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through 3 loops, leaving that last one, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops like that. And then for the chain space that we have here, so this gap, I'm literally just going to make a single crochet into the space, so going all the way around that bar and just making a single crochet like that. Okay, and then I'm going to repeat that all the way around. So I'm going to make 3 like stitches where I pull up a loop. So I'm going to pull up a loop 3 times, so 1, 2 and 3, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through 3 loops, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops like that, and then I'm going to make a single crochet into that chain space, and I'm just going to repeat that all around. But I will meet you back once I have done my very last like section here, then I'll show you how to fasten it off. Okay, so I've just done my last single crochet into that chain space, and now I'm going to slip stitch back into that first stitch that we made, so not the chain 1 but the stitch like that, and then I'm just going to chain 1 and fasten off, and then I'm going to weave this tail in, and then the ring dish is all finished. This is what it looks like on the inside, and then you would just place the rings in here, and it's really nice and sturdy, everything stays up, which I like as well, and you can also flip it around the other way, so you can have it both sides like this. You can have the neat side on the outside, but I personally prefer the neat side on the inside, so yeah. Okay, so for the last project I'm going to be working on the jewellery pouch. So you're going to be needing some cream yarn and baby pink yarn, and then a kind of brighter pink yarn, and then dark green. So the dark green is for the strawberry leaves, obviously the pink is for the strawberry, the baby pink is for the ties around the pouch, and then the cream yarn is going to be the main like body of the pouch. The cream yarn that I'm using is slightly thicker than the rest, that's just the style that I had, but you can use double knit, but this one is a chunky yarn, and then the rest here are all double knit. So for the main part of the pouch I'm going to be using a 3.5mm hook, but when I make the ties and the strawberry I'm going to be going down to a 3mm hook, so I just thought I'd let you know that. Again, you'll also need some scissors and a sewing needle to sew any ends in. So I'm starting off with the main part of the pouch. I'm going to be making a slip knot with my chunky yarn, and I'm going to be making a chain of 3, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain, and then I'm going to separate the ring, and I'm going to make 8 half double crochets into the centre of the ring. and then I'm going to tighten the ring by pulling on the tail, and I'm going to slip stitch back into the first half double crochet that we made. I'm going to make my slip stitch to close the round, and then for round 2 I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to make 2 half double crochets into each stitch all the way around. So this will give you 16 stitches, so just 2 half double crochets in each stitch all the way around. Okay, and then I'm going to slip stitch back into that first half double crochet that I made to close the round, and then for round 3 I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to make 1 half double crochet into the first stitch and then 2 half double crochets into the second stitch, and then I'll repeat that all the way around. So 1 half double crochet into the first stitch and then 2 half double crochets into the second stitch, and then I'm just going to repeat that sequence all the way around. And then I'm going to slip stitch back into the first half double crochet to close the round, and then for round 4 I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to be making 1 half double crochet into each back loop all the way around. So I'm going into the first stitch and I'm just picking up that back loop, making my half double crochet, and I'm going to make 1 half double crochet into each back loop. Okay, and then I'm going to slip stitch back into the first half double crochet to complete the round. So you should have something like this, and it would naturally fold, so you're just going to want to push it up. So you should kind of have this line going around the edge, and that makes the pouch sit nice and flat, like this. So for round 5 to round 7, I'm just going to make 1 half double crochet into each stitch around. So I'm just going to chain 1 to go up a row, and make 1 half double crochet into each stitch, and then when I get to the end I'm going to slip stitch back into the first half double crochet, and then I'm going to repeat that until I reach row 7. Okay, so I've just done my 7th row, and now I'm going to start row 8. So I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to be making a half double crochet into the first stitch, and then I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to skip 2, and then I'm going to make a half double crochet into the next stitch. Okay, so that's the sequence. I'm going to chain 2, skip 2, and half double crochet into the next stitch, chain 2, skip 2, half double crochet into the next stitch, and I'm going to repeat this all the way around. So after the last half double crochet I'm going to chain 2, I'm going to skip those 2 stitches in the row below, and I'm going to slip stitch into that first half double crochet that we made. And then for row 9, this is the final row, I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to be making 2 single crochets into each stitch. So starting off in the first stitch, I'm going to make 2 single crochets, and then I'm going to make 2 single crochets into each chain. So I'm just going into this chain here, 2 single crochets, and then into the next chain, 2 single crochets. Okay, and then I'm going into the half double crochet with 2 single crochets, and then I'm going into the 2 chains with 2 single crochets, and then into the half double crochet with 2 single crochets. So it's basically 2 single crochets into each stitch slash each chain. So wherever you see a chain, you'll make 2 single crochets in it. If you see a half double crochet, you'll make 2 single crochets in that. So I'm going to repeat that now all the way around. Okay, so once you have reached your last 2 single crochets, you're just going to slip stitch back into that first single crochet and then chain 1 and fasten off. And I'm just going to weave this end in with my sewing needle. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to make the strawberries. You're going to want to grab your brighter pink yarn and the green yarn. So with the bright pink yarn, I'm going to be making a slip knot. And I'm going to chain 5 with my 3mm hook. And then I'm going to be making 2 rows of single crochet. So I'm just single crocheting into the second chain from the hook, and then single crochet into each chain across. And then I'm going to turn the work, and I'm just going to single crochet into each stitch across, so into the 4 stitches of the row. Okay, so for row 3, I'm just going to turn the work, I'm going to skip the first stitch, and I'm going to make a single crochet into the second stitch, and then I'm going to skip the third stitch and make a single crochet into the 4th stitch, like that. And then for row 4, I'm going to turn the work, and I'm just going to make 1 single crochet into each stitch. So there's only 2 stitches, so that's 1 and 2. And then for row 5, this is the final row, I'm just going to turn the work, I'm going to skip the first stitch and slip stitch into the second stitch, like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to chain 1 and fasten off, and then I'm going to repeat that again to make a second strawberry. So I've just weaved in the tail of the strawberry, and now I'm going to be making the leaves. So with the green yarn, I'm just going to make a slip knot, and I'm going to attach it sort of in that second loop at the top of the strawberry. So right there, I'm going to pull the yarn through and then just chain 1. And then I'm going to make an extra chain, so there's technically chain 2, and I'm just going to slip stitch into the second chain, and then I'm going to slip stitch into that stitch, pink stitch where we attach the yarn, like that. And then I'm going to repeat that again in the exact same pink stitch. So I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to slip stitch into the second stitch, and then I'm going to slip stitch back into that pink stitch here. Okay, and then I'm going to repeat that 2 more times, but I'm going to be slip stitching into the next pink stitch. So I'm going to chain 2, slip stitch into the second stitch, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the next pink stitch of the row, like that, and then I'm going to chain 2, slip stitch into the second stitch, and then I'm going to slip stitch into that same pink stitch. Okay, and then I'm just going to chain 1 and fasten off, and I'm just going to weave these ends in with my sewing needle, and then I'll come back and I will show you how we attach it to the tie ribbons. Okay, so I've just done my 2 strawberries, and now I'm going to show you how to attach the ties to it. So basically I'm going to make a slip knot with my baby pink yarn and my 3mm hook, and I'm going to insert the hook in between either of the 2 leaves, so in the middle of the middle 2 leaves. So just roughly kind of inserting the hook, and then pull the baby pink yarn through like that, and then chain 1, and then I'm going to be making a chain of 70. Once you have your chain of 70, you're going to grab your other strawberry, and you're going to make a slip stitch in between the 2 leaves. So I'm going to kind of insert the hook right here in the middle, and make a slip stitch like that, and then I'm just going to chain 1 and fasten off, and then I'm just going to weave these tails in to the back of the strawberry. Okay, and then the last step for the pouch is just to weave the strawberry ties around. So I'm going to just use 1 hook, make sure the strawberries are facing up the right way, and you can obviously pick wherever you want to place your first tie. I'm going from the back to the front, so going in that big gap and pulling the first side of the tie through. Like that. And then you want to leave the other tie at the front, like this. And then I'm just going to weave this tie all the way around. So that's what it should be looking like, and then you can kind of just pull the ties to even them out, and then you can just place all of your jewellery in here, and then you can tie the ribbon together. So that is what it's looking like when it's all tied together. So yeah, that is the final project all finished. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up. If you have any ideas of what you'd like me to make next, then feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.